Think about the opinions you defend the loudest, the ambitions you chase every day, the specific fears that keep you awake at night. We instinctively assume these thoughts belong to us, but if you trace them back to their origin, you might find that almost everything you consider to be your unique personality was actually programmed. There is no secret organization pulling the strings here. This programming is simply the result of thousands of invisible cultural influences. Small social cues, repeated expectations, and behavioral rewards have been stacking up inside your mind since the day you were born. The 20th century philosopher Jiddu Krishnamurti spent his life examining this exact process. He identified a prison built from our psychological architecture, a cage constructed of inherited beliefs rather than physical walls. This mental cage remains effective because it is invisible. The vast majority of people live their entire lives from birth to death without realizing they are operating inside a closed system of acquired reactions. Today, that system is hypercharged. The phone in your pocket and the algorithms populating your screen are designed to train your attention. Every scroll and notification acts as a tiny command, teaching your brain what to desire, what to fear, and how to react thousands of times a day. We actively cooperate with this architecture. We feed the algorithms our time and energy, keeping our brains constantly stimulated by the noise. Yet, despite being relentlessly connected, we are left feeling emotionally numb and strangely isolated. To understand how we get trapped, we have to look at how the cage is built. The conditioning process starts in infancy. Long before a child develops the cognitive defense mechanisms to question authority, they are handed a script for how reality works. The first major layer is applied through our educational systems. You are taught exactly what success looks like and what failure means. You learn the strict parameters of acceptable behavior and discover how to conform to structural authority to avoid punishment. Our family units impose highly specific social norms. They model relational expectations and hand down generational definitions of what constitutes a good life. We absorb their anxieties, their prejudices, and their unspoken rules about who deserves affection and who deserves rejection. Finally, the tertiary layer locks it all in place. Religious, nationalistic, and political ideologies provide a framework dictating what you must believe without question. We are taught that bowing to these external dogmas is a virtue. Over years and decades, the mind collects all these external labels: nationality, status, religion, political party. Eventually, we make a tragic miscalculation. We mistake that massive collection of acquired labels for our actual self, and we will fiercely defend this programming against anyone who questions it. There is a biological reason we cling to these labels so tightly. This animation illustrates an evolutionary shortcut used by the human brain, known as predictive models. To save cognitive energy, your brain constantly recognizes patterns and forms automatic, rigid pathways for how to react to the world. Over time, these predictive models act like thick layers of dust on a mirror. Instead of taking in new information, your brain starts filtering out actual reality. It prefers to only let in data that perfectly matches your past experiences and pre-programmed prejudices. This biological filter explains why a simple disagreement can feel like a physical attack. When someone challenges your beliefs or threatens your status, the new information violently collides with your rigid pathways. Your brain registers a threat and triggers instant defensiveness, anger, or jealousy. Because biology literally turns our conditioning into our identity, our daily emotional reactions are almost never organic responses to reality. They are simply automatic responses to our programmed expectations. We stop seeing what is and only see what we've been trained to see. Once you realize your mind operates on autopilot, the natural instinct is to try and stop it. You sit down, close your eyes, and demand silence. But the moment you attempt to escape your conditioned mind, the internal noise becomes deafening. Anxiety, cravings, and memories erupt all at once. The discomfort is so intense that we immediately look for an exit. We consume endless self-improvement content, adopt rigid new philosophies, or try to force our thoughts into submission through sheer willpower. We want a method to fix the chaos. Look at the logic of this approach in this animation. Krishnamurti pointed out a dark truth. You are using your conditioned mind to try and fix your conditioned mind. It is a biological and philosophical impossibility. It is like tearing down the bars of your cell to build a ladder, only to realize you are just constructing a smaller, tighter cage around yourself. We avoid facing an uncomfortable reality. We are secretly attached to the very identities that limit us. A known prison, with all its predictable anxieties and familiar judgments, feels vastly safer than the complete uncertainty of actual freedom. All of our frantic modern drives for self-improvement and self-control rarely result in liberation. We just end up trading an old set of beliefs for a new set of beliefs, successfully building ourselves a prettier cage. Krishnamurti proposed a radical alternative to this endless cycle. He argued against self-improvement, against ideologies, and against self-control. Instead, he suggested a practice of pure observation, watching your own mind completely free of judgment or the desire to change what you see. This requires watching your own anger, fear, or jealousy with cold, clinical neutrality. You do not judge the emotion as bad, and you do not try to suppress it. You observe the volatility in your own mind exactly the way a scientist observes a volatile chemical reaction in a beaker. The next time you feel the urgent compulsion to check your phone or a sudden spike of social insecurity, just watch it happen. Notice the physical sensation in your chest. Notice the thoughts racing. Don't fight the urge, but don't blindly obey it either. Just sit quietly and observe the machinery of your own conditioning at work. As you watch without judging, you begin to see that the observer, the part of you that usually tries to control or judge the emotion, is actually just more conditioning. When that judging part of the mind goes quiet, the artificial separation between the watcher and the feeling disappears. You are no longer a person fighting an emotion. You are the awareness of the emotion itself. When a conditioned emotion is clearly perceived for what it is, the internal conflict ends, the automatic reaction loses power, and the mental loop stops. Imagine existing, even for just a few minutes, entirely in the present moment. You feel no compulsion to compare your life to a stranger's highlight reel. You have no desire to conform to what society expects of you, and you require absolutely zero external validation to justify your existence. This state of being isn't a distant reward reserved for people who meditate for 20 years. It isn't a goal in the future at all. It is accessed in the exact moment your awareness of your own conditioning becomes complete. So stop asking what new traits you need to add to your personality to become a better person. The real question is, what false programming, what inherited fears, and what borrowed identities do you need to stop carrying? A human mind that understands its own conditioning operates with a new layer of recognition. It begins to see the mechanics of a consumer algorithm or a tribal appeal before the automatic reaction can take hold. By understanding the system, you stop being an unconscious part of it. This clarity makes it much harder for external systems to dictate your behavior through unconscious obedience. You don't have to fight the system or start a rebellion. True freedom is the simple, quiet act of finally seeing clearly. Because once you truly see the architecture of the invisible cage, you can never go back to sleep.
If this video added value in your life, please like, comment, and share this video, and subscribe to Mind Reprogramming.